So here we go into the midship forward crew area. And people are always amazed at the cleanliness and size of our crew mess and crew accommodations and laundry area. And I'm always amazed as to why they're amazed. Because at the end of the day, the boat doesn't run without crew. Your boat's not going to run very well without a happy chef and rested engineer and deck crew and stewardesses and whatnot that are uncomfortable and unhappy. And this is a very, very unique amount of space and a unique layout for a 45-meter boat. We've run the boat with a total of 7 crew. And with 7 crew, we've got 4 of our crew members have their own stateroom, and it's just the 2 stewardesses that end up sharing, which I think adds a lot of appeal, and I think is one of the reasons why we've been so successful in retaining crew and happy crew. Because when you are doing expedition style cruising, while the adventure is great and the experiences are that of lifetimes, there is the end of the day when you want 5 minutes or an hour to yourself to check your email or watch a movie. And if you're sharing a room with 2 or 3 other people, that doesn't happen. And so personal space, places to commingle away from the guests is super important. It's one of the reasons why the owners of this boat have really enjoyed cruising on it, is that the master stateroom, they have their entire floor where they can just get away from everybody for a half a day or 2 or 3 hours, and they're not choked down by having to stay in a small stateroom. And the same is true down here and throughout the layout of this boat. It's a 45-meter boat, but it behaves more like a 50-meter boat, and it's unique. Speaking of unique, let's go have a look at our forward engine room, which to my understanding, there's not too many boats that have what I'm about to show you. So let's go have a look. All right, so here we are in our forward engine room, and this is a place that we've spent a lot of time adding to and making the systems that are in here work for us. And what I mean by that is, we knew that as an expedition yacht and traveling around to very remote areas, that we were going to spend very little time at a dock. So that meant we were going to need and have a huge demand for fresh water. So immediately after purchase, we bought and installed a second water maker. So we have a capability of making 8,000 gallons of water per day. And coupled to our water makers are media tanks, and our media tanks are filled with media that is micro Z, and micro Z is a metal alloy that is designed and formulated to attach itself to more or less dirty water. And what it allows us to do is that these tanks are recyclable. So as the water comes in from the ocean, goes into the media tanks, As the media gets dirty, we get a higher differential pressure between the inlet and the outlet. When that gets to a point where it's impeding the flow of the water, we simply recycle the media inside the tank by back flushing it. It takes about 20 or 30 minutes, and then we start again. And while that might not seem like a big deal here in Fort Lauderdale, but when you're up a river in Papua New Guinea and the water looks like mud, and you still need to make 2,000 gallons a day of water, if you had just pre-filtration, you would be going through filters nonstop. We change our pre-filters probably every 100 to 200 hours of water making, which equates to tens of thousands of gallons of seawater that go through our pre-filters. These are the types of changes that we've made to our engineering systems to work in the most rigorous environments for days, months, and years at a time. These water makers just shut down when we arrived in Fort Lauderdale. Otherwise, they have been running nonstop for the last 8 years. And I can't say enough about them. They're absolutely bulletproof. And I think last calculations were we've made somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.1 to 2.2 million gallons of fresh water through these machines. To my left here is the Caterpillar C7, which is not unique. What is unique is that how it's coupled to the Shuttle pump, and this is the drive shaft coming off of the C7. It's then coupled to the turret, and this entire dome contraption here is the impeller and pump jet for for the system that I had showed you earlier in the bridge. And this engine has been detuned to 375 kW. It currently has 2,100 hours on it because it simply only gets used for maneuvering and slow running and just sort of harbor style maneuvering. And again, absolutely bulletproof. The Shuttle system has been extremely reliable, both for the main engine and the C7. And yeah, once you get the idea of what these systems are capable of, it's hard to go back to a conventional bow thruster that simply goes left and right. Having the ability to go any degree within 360 degrees at any power setting becomes extremely useful especially when you've got scenarios where you're backed up to a wharf, you've got two anchors out, you need to keep steady pressure on the anchors. A conventional fixed pitch propeller system that you have on a traditional motor yacht would do nothing for you in those scenarios. You would end up having to continuously bump the boat in and out of gear, in and out of gear, in and out of gear. We simply just turn the pump jet to reverse, select the power setting based on the weather conditions, and the anchors are tight, the boat is stable at the dock. And we've sat in those conditions for days at a time because of swell, because of wind, because of current. There's been many of occasions where we were able to fuel in certain scenarios where if we had traditional propulsion systems, we would have never been able to get to a dock. And that's what's unique about this boat, is that it is truly designed to go anywhere. And that's what we've done. It's gone anywhere and everywhere. So let's move back to the main engine room.